contribute to that.
Sorry?
I didn't contribute to that.
Thank you. Yeah, you did. You sat there silently while the other two shat all over me. Yeah.
It's hard to find my in when people are shitting on you.
That's true. I've been there many times.
I didn't. I didn't.
That wasn't funny. You're looking too into what I should. I mean, yes, that's what I meant, but you're not supposed to make it that obvious.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. That's right.
That's interesting. I would.
Where's Jenkins when you need him? So 4 Zoomers versus Quincy crew.
You would be into that, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah. Game 2 of this best of 3.
Yeah.
Terrorblade is the carry for 4 Zoomers this time.
I actually really like the Zoomers here. Their picks look really good, right? We did talk about a lot of things, but just generally, there's 5 Titans, Darkseer. They're suddenly cooldown dependent, right? Spirit Breaker as a core is going to get a lot of farm, and this combination is just really annoying. Have you ever had an Inkswelled Spirit Breaker run into your face?
Yeah, it's quite strong indeed.
It's very upsetting.
But
not only that.
Okay, go ahead.
Mars and Snapfire too.
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, obviously Inkswell is the reason you picked this hero. Soulbind is almost useless. Does it do anything with charge? Is that the only spell?
Wait, I didn't hear you.
Soulbind.
Soulbind. What about it?
It does nothing this game. In terms of like combo. There's like no single target other than charge.
Another strike.
Right? Oh, that's true. Another strike.
An Inkswell in and of itself is very nice,
okay.
right? Double
I stand corrected.
Embrace, but more importantly, you're playing against Void Spirit, who does not like to be leashed. None of the Spirit heroes like to be leashed.
That is true. I mean, is this a game where they have to get multiple Yules on Quincy crew? Like they talked about how Mirana wants to buy one anyway, and obviously Void Spirit, Quinn buys it from time to time depending on the matchup. Is this a game where Yules is required on him?
I think that it is going to be really nice, but he can just go for the Kai Assange. The status resist is going to be really nice. A Yules on Mirana could be enough to suffice here. It's going to depend on player preference. I see 1 Yules being worth it, 2 Yules. Just depends on what's more comfortable for Quinn.
I mean, if they get the Yules on Void Spirit,
XD.
Then he can set up his own Aether Remnant, obviously, and then he can follow up with Arrow on top of it. Got a lot of stun lock potential for Quincy crew, but we'll see. But that sounded like Cinderin's voice line, but nobody would have bought that, so there's no way.
Stupid.
Okay.
I was hearing XG, and I thought production was speaking in my ear.
No, that.
And then I realized it was a voice line. I was like, why are you XDing me? What did I do?
Yeah, Quinn, he has very little enthusiasm, which actually makes it a very good voice line.
Pretty funny.
Because it doesn't really sound natural. And you can see his face right there, not natural as well. So, game 2, do you think 4 Zoomers are going to fare any better this game?
I think their draft is better. They definitely have a better shot. And a lot of it is going to depend on how much momentum this SV Grim are going to bring to the table. Because on panel, Cinderin made a lot of really great points about it. On paper,
don't compliment him. He gets a big head.
The panel in general made a lot of really good points.
Mostly Tsunami, though, right?
So we'll see. My only issue really is like, yes, they're going to play around this Gush just so TA can maximize her damage output. But if Ravage is the spell that's going to anchor their team fights early on, it can be pretty scary just because of how high cooldown it is.
Yeah, Quinn going to take decent damage.
I have faith.
You have faith in 4 Zoomers, huh?
I have faith in Quincy crew as well. I mean, to play.
You can't have faith in 2 teams. That cannot be what. No, you can't.
So
say
generally, I have faith in Quincy crew to play very well, but I mean, I have more faith in Zoomer's draft than I did last game. Does that?
Yes, that's a little bit better.
Okay, sorry for not.
I thought you were going to say you have
enough.
faith in them to lose, but that would have been
I
very
suck
negative.
at elaborating. Why do you think I was dodge casting?
I think you're just intimidated by me and my amazing physique. You know,
that's true. It's hard.
80% body fat.
It's hard to sit next to you, and it's like you're my really hot friend.
Oh my God! Let's not get out of hand here. The sarcasm is too strong here.
What do you mean? I'm being sarcastic.
So mid lane, Quinn playing the Void Spirit Gunner. We're gonna see Mars again, and I'm very interested again to see if he goes for that. I mean, maybe it's just based on him not getting off to a good start. The fact that he had to go BKB literal first item after boots. Maybe he could go for something a little bit more flashy, which is kind of his style. I mean, that's the thing. If he plays a hero mid and he goes BKB first. It doesn't matter what hero. It doesn't really fit his play style in general. You know what I mean?
I think the issue most of all is just there was not enough damage with his combination early on. But now that you have a Snapfire, so long as Snap's positioning is good, you're always going to have that damage in arena. And that issue that he had last game where he does find the go but just can't kill it will not exist.
Okay. We'll see.
We'll see, we'll see.
I mean, if he's at the... If his net worth is average for the game, meaning equivalent to like a position 3, then maybe not so high, but we'll see.
But something we didn't mention actually is, so on panel we were saying that Darkseer is one of the most frustrating heroes to play against as a Terrorblade because all of this high armor that helps you kind of catapult your lead in lane doesn't really work against that hero. So they just decided to dodge it and put the Terrorblade against the TA top.
Yeah, that leaves Z-Freak in the bot lane with Moo on the Spirit Breaker. And they're going to be facing off against Ponlo's.
He's just
Tide
chasing
Hunter.
Z-Freak. He's gonna catch him.
Is he?
Boots first.
Well, oh,
beautiful.
Anchor Smash is faster. Down he goes. That's first blood the way of Quincy Crew this time around.
Dude, look at Ponlo go. And that's the upside to buying boots on something like Tide that just hits a really powerful peak at level 2. You can just gush Anchor Smash, do so much damage. All you really need to do is chase someone down.
Yeah, Kezu's going to be playing the Darkseer this time, and he is... I'm guessing he's just going to be left here alone for a bit here now that Ponlo can kind of transition out. I mean, once Kezu hits level 3, he's kind of untouchable, it feels like.
Look at this roaming Tide Hunter. He's just sitting near mid lane looking for a go. Oh, chased away by Z-Freak.
Yeah, that is... It's always sad to be chased off by somebody with a brush when you're a literal Leviathan. Wow, Husky gets the kill on Yawar in the top lane. That was not expected.
And that's just really well played. We were talking about how Terrorblade does well against TA just because he's high armor and he's reflection to slow her down into the killing spells of Snapfire. If they can actually get a couple of kills on TA in this laning phase, Kasabala is going to be off to a really great start, and this TA that we're scared of hitting this timing is going to be slowed down. Because if you look on paper, Quincy Crew have to play for this kind of Roshan first Rosh, second Rosh play with Ravage timing, and if 4 Zoomers can slow that out, they have a really good shot at just overwhelming them.
So the idea is to slow the game down as much as possible.
Slow the TA down as much as possible while like maximizing your TB's farm. Right? Because you're going to have this Spirit Breaker and Grimstroke who are just going to be so strong together later on in the game.
So talk to me about how I mean, Moo is obviously the position 3, but this game it's kind of like the position 1. So you get Inkswell applied as Kezu's in a lot of trouble, gets blown up after the fact.
Dude, that is so
kill.
nasty. Like, I hate this here. But just all you need is 2 points in your bash and just 1 charge, and it's enough stun locking with Inkswell to kill off even a Darkseer.
Yeah, level 2 Inkswell as well. I mean, this is a hero that will likely be nerfed in some capacity.
Some capacity.
I mean, I actually love this hero, so I don't really mind, honestly.
Have you been playing pubs recently?
Sure I have. Moo? No comment?
That's why you love the hero.
I mean, when Jiawei was playing in mid, pre-TI, that was great stuff, you know? Love that stuff. I mean, the fact that the bash is double damage to creeps, love it. Can actually farm. Fun hero in general is...
It is pretty fun, I'll give you that. I have been playing a lot of Spirit Breaker myself.
Okay, yeah, I figures... I mean,
But
any mobility
only-
hero is going to be a lot of fun.
Only because I can't give it to the enemies, so I just have to pick it.
Oh, I see. Well, you still... So you take it away from the enemy, which is fun because you're denying them, but then you actually play a fun hero as well, so it's kind of nice.
It's actually been a really good patch for support players with SB and Weaver being in meta.
As Moo trying to clean up as much as possible right now. He is sitting at 27-2 for CS. And you can see Yawar on the other side, which we're just basically position 1 trading farm here.
I like that he charges to clear the wave and just make sure they're not in a position where Z-Freak can be dove by 2 ion shells. And the catapult is coming. It's not going to do much here. It's be easy clear for me.
And you can see Quincy Crew. I mean, this is the usual shenanigans that is Darkseer gameplay. Just stealing a wave, trying to combine it with some sort of neutral camp, and getting as much farm as possible. As he is going for Vanguard here, so pretty close to finishing that. Actually has a stack here as well.
And you have Ponla just dragging waves forever in the bot lane. It's pretty much going to be a stalemate.
Oh, Spear actually connects. Inkswell, is it going to be enough? They're stun locking the crap out of him. On the high ground is Gunnar. That'll set up a potential another kill onto Kezu. A big kill, though, onto the Void Spears. There's the Mars Arena. Gush to follow from the outside. Can they actually follow this up with anything more as the bash comes through with that charge into the actual bash from Moo? 2 big kills for 4 Zoomers, but they obviously lost Costa Bile as well on the other side of the map.
I was going to say that, oh no, Gunnar is suddenly on a cliff, but that was the greatest cookie of all time because it found the stack and it found the Darkseer, and that was just a really great kill to get there for Zoomers. They picked up like 2 of the big creeps in the sack. I do think Darkseer finished off most of it, but they did kill him afterwards, so he did lose a bit of the gold that he made off of it.
And you can see the story is quite different this game. Gunnar is #1 in net worth right now. Obviously not the most ginormous lead by any means, but this will allow him to go for the blink daggers. Yep, we're going to see the double Inkswell with the bash coming through as well. Husky gets some nice damage.
All right.
Not sure if it's going to be enough to actually find the kill. Is Pontlo getting sped out of there thanks to Kezu.
I guess that's the benefit of having this really tanky offlane duo in Darkseer and Tidehunter.
The vacuum actually canceled that charge, I believe. And they're going to be able to get a nice kill onto Moo. Doesn't look too excited about that. He has 0 emotion during gameplay, by the way. I can attest to this during our TI6 run. 0 emotion whatsoever. And I think that actually helps him a lot. It's actually usually is a good thing to have.
And isn't that what you want out of your Dota players?
Normally. Being dead inside, yeah.
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 Yeah. I would say the #1 tag on Twitch is depression.
Yeah, that's true. All right, but on the other side, like OG, they won 2 times, right? And they're very emotional. Have a lot of highs and lows. They're definitely not dead inside.
It's different strokes for different folks.
True. Although Thompson is kind of dead inside, so he's,
I mean,
he's ruthless.
SEA
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of that as well.
him.
Z-Freak getting taken out in the river here. So Quincy crew trying to mount a little bit of a comeback here as have not gotten off to the greatest start. Charge comes in as well. Costa Bile at the Sunder. Kind of an early pickup for him as Kezu just walks it off now.
That's a nice little freebie that they found on the Grimstroke. Milan's having a pretty good game
Another
himself.
strike. Husky. Oh my, the bash actually ruins that combination, but they'll find the kill nonetheless.
So that's the thing that I was trying to say earlier, is that the benefit of having this Darkseer and Tide sitting on this lane is that, yes, while SB and Griv is a very potent killing combo, these are really high HP heroes. It'll take some effort to bring them down in the early game. And often they just got them down to 10-20%, but just couldn't finish them off.
Yep. Fatty McFatties indeed, as Gunner's going to be smoked up right now. Getting close to his blink dagger, so good to see him go for something other than the straight up BKB like we talked about. Doesn't look like they'll find anybody, as though looks like the...
Are you ever going to let that
No, I can't stand it. I mean, that's going to get nerfed 100% in the next patch, so we won't be seeing it that much longer anyway.
Oh,
Arena comes in, Yawar inside, gets speared and brought down. Husky gets credit for that one. And they're going to take out a couple stacks in the meantime as well.
It's looking really good for the Zoomers. You know, in the bot lane, Kezu's just farming as that happens. Darkseer isn't the best hero for tower pressure, so it's not like they could have traded a tower for it, but it is something.
He's getting good farm, though, which looks like he's going to go for the Arcane Boots after his Vanguard, which is already in his inventory. So Agsby after that is Costa Bile in a lot of trouble, getting chased by Quincy crew. Has a lot of armor, so these right clicks are not going to be enough by themselves, but the gush into the final one for Milan secures himself a very important kill on the Costa Bile.
Unfortunately, the Sunder was still down from when he used it on the Darkseer earlier.
What, really? How long is it cooldown level 1?
It's pretty long.
Good lord. 120 seconds.
Oh, yeah. That's why you'll see a lot of Terrorblades just skip the skill point in general just to farm faster.
Just the fact that he had that originally was kind of weird, but...
You can make plays with it, for sure.
All right, I mean, with that said, Quincy crew technically have the net worth lead right now. I mean, in terms of like the pace of the game, you talked about how they wanted to slow down Yawar's farm on the TA, and I mean, looking at it right now, he's top 3, so he's recovered pretty nicely.
Not only that, Kezu's been having a really great game. He's been farming comfortably. Isn't really in a position where he can die at the moment, and he has his Ags queued up. Once he gets that Ags, even though Quinn isn't in the best position right now in terms of net worth, he's going to be that much stronger.
Yeah, Moo is dead. A nice beef for them. Okay, Soulbind into the Phantom's Embrace, into Gunner's Arena with the kisses from below. They find Quinn very easily, and it looks like there'll be both kills going the way of 4 Zoomers. So nice retribution.
And they got the tower deny as well.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Insult to injury there.
That is nice.
But meanwhile, Kasavale didn't really make the most out of that just because he had to wait for the wave to come back because Yawar and Palmo are still sitting on that lane. But still, he's just going to farm this wave, go back into the triangle, and overall, that was really well played by Zoomers.
And they have a nice couple stacks there in the Ancients as well. We'll see if they... That's not worth it for TA to make a transition, I think. You need 3 to 4 for Yawar to feel like it's worth his effort to walk down there.
2 years ago, if I had told you that the meta on Spirit Breaker would be double null, would you have believed me?
No, that's disgusting. As Kazu gets off the surge, double null.
That's actually just how you play this hero for the spell amp, so you can clear the creep wave faster.
I mean, the fact that it gives spell amp is also kind of strange. But
I mean, because your bash is magical damage.
yeah, no, I mean, it's just the fact that that does that in general is weird. Z-Freight getting caught out. Looks like he'll be the sacrifice for 4 Zoomers. The Quincy crew. I mean, it took quite a few of their 4 heroes rotating there to get that kill, so...
Yeah, but on the upside now, you have TA playing on the side of the map that you want her to play on, just because that's where her ancient stacks are. She can just have more of the jungle to farm. You can put your Darkseer wherever you want to, really. And once he gets this Ags, this Void Spirit is going to be very strong. It's not going to matter if he's falling behind in net worth.
Yep. So it's going to be Yules to start out for Mr. Quinn himself. And you can see Milan went for the urn, so no Yules for him quite yet. Although you talked about having 2 Yules. Is that overkill? You still feel that way?
Yeah, but whatever. Whatever you feel like, really. It's always going to be good because you're playing against Phantom's Embrace. It's going to be really annoying. And a Spirit Breaker. You have to just Yules that guy. Get away from him.
And Costa Bile finishing up his Yasha pretty shortly. We talked about the Blink Dagger already on Gunner. Just going for the casual phase boots now. And then Mu, who effectively played the position 1 to start the game. It'll just be the old BKB start. I mean, is that going to align nicely for them? Like Synderen was talking about, obviously you need BKB and Shadowblade. I mean, in terms of the order, though, do you agree with this? That they just want to start fighting pretty
you definitely
early?
Have to, because you just want to slow down this TA's game, and to do that you have to actually be able to run at her team, right? But you have Vacuum to cancel charge, you have Arrow, you've got a potential Ravage, you've got the Void Spirit Aether Remnant.
Charge into Nether Strike into the bash!
Yeah, that's what my enemy Spirit Breakers look like.
I wish, okay, they received the Snuggie, by the way. Thank you to everybody that tweeted out to me. Really appreciate that. I was disgusted with myself that I couldn't remember that. And of course, Effie still has no idea what a Snuggie is.
I thought it was a towel.
It's one of those like infomercials you see at like 5 a.m. It's Costa Bile getting bursted down. Quinn, a huge kill for Quincy crew into a bad manner pause, typical NA style. And now they're saying, sorry, this is a real pause. Nice try, guys.
Packet loss issues. Unfortunate. There has been a lot
man,
of
we killed you so fast that looked like packet loss. Let me pause this real quick.
But hey, speaking of the double null and Spirit Breaker, there's a double null and Void Spirit for the same reasons, because of that extra spell.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, Void Spirit, like, an int hero in general, back before Spell Amp was a thing with int in general, double null wouldn't be strange, right? But Spirit Breaker,
Well,
it's a bracer hero, you know?
no, it's not, because here's the concept behind the double null Spirit Breaker is that you do more damage with the nulls than you do
No,
with the
I understand
person.
what you're saying. I'm saying it should not be that way. Like,
So you have an issue with it.
Historically speaking, Null Talisman is for int heroes. You know what I mean?
I see,
Bracers
I
are for
see.
big boys, and Wraithbands are for agility boys and girls.
So you're saying that Dota has to stick to the status quo. It offends you?
Sometimes I
Creativity
like going
offends you.
outside the box, but this is one of those. It's like, let's just stick to traditional gameplay. You know, there's enough heroes in the game. There's enough items that we can. Oh, speaking of which, what are you hoping for in the new patch? Actually, this would be interesting.
It sounds like
topic of
something
discussion.
my dad would say.
What items are you looking for in the next patch?
No, this hero deserves this item, and everything else is
Yeah,
wrong.
why not?
What am I hoping for in the next patch? I really want a water rune nerf, small camp nerf, potentially a BKB nerf.
Okay. What kind of
Board of BKB
What kind of BKB nerf?
Maybe a 5-second BKB.
I was thinking the same thing.
Mm.
So
That'd
the
be cool.
range would be between 5 and 9.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I
maybe.
like that.
It's kind of discouraged these BKB first
I mean,
metas
I'm
that
not
are
even sure if
happening
that's
on
enough,
Kuka and
honestly.
such. And we'll see. Honestly, that 1 second can do a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be 5 to 10, right? Was it 5 to 10?
It was. It was.
Right.
It was.
So
And
5
then it
to
was
9
9
would
to
be
6.
yeah. Now it's 9 to 6.
But also, you could sell your BKB and get a new one, and that
I
would
don't-
have fresh charges.
Right, but that was before the 5 to 10, right?
I think that was still during 5 to 10.
Was it? Maybe there was a layer there. Yeah, perhaps.
I don't know. It's,
A lot of these
it's all in the
patches really,
past.
you know, the worst thing is when you read like, have you ever seen those fake patch notes that come out every once in a while?
Yeah.
And then like, you know, they're not real, but then like 2 years later, you're remembering like, oh, that was that. Remember when that was the thing? Like, no, that actually was literally not ever a thing. That's what happens
do
when you
you,
get old.
okay, do you remember the first really big change patch that Dota had recently?
Recently,
7.00, which was
Talents.
after the Boston Major, I believe.
yeah,
And it had backpacks and talents and bounty runes and all of these things.
Respawn
and
time,
those patch notes got leaked, and people read them and thought they were a joke.
yeah.
I remember
exactly
it was like, there is no way this is real. These are meme patch notes. And now I can't even imagine Dota without backpacks.
It's true.
Talents,
It's, I mean,
things like that.
anything that is a quality of life improvement, I'm for.
Do you remember when Dota had 1 courier?
What do you mean? Do I remember? It was like 2 years ago. At least I feel like it
It
was.
feels like so long ago, just because
That's
how
true.
the F did people manage with only 1 courier per
I mean,
team?
the last thing we need now is a ward inventory spot. You see where the neutral item and the TP are? Just add one more above, nice and even all across the board. That's just for wards.
I can see how people would complain that it's too much like league at that point, but we complained about TP slots too. So yeah.
Everybody complained about the status icons on top, right? And for how long you're stunned for.
But to be able to hold sentry wards in a particular spot would be really broken versus invis heroes, because suddenly your carries can carry detection.
Boo-hoo, invis heroes.
Yeah, but your carries could actually carry detection late game with sentries.
Charge. Looks like this will be a freebie for Zoomers. And they're going to actually smoke right off the bat.
And the insta smoke. So before this pause, Quincy crew were setting a first smoke of their own, but then I just kind of zoned out. Forgot what
okay.
happened there.
That's all right. We're not casting this professionally or anything. Cinder does this all the time. See, the trick is to not mention that. That's what you did.
No, because I remember watching the 3 of them smoking with the Darkseer and the Void and the Tidehunter, but then what happened there?
They died.
It's too busy thinking about
hero died.
patches.
It happens. It's all about going off on tangents.
From now on, I'll be professional.
Okay.
Ah, yes, the
Basically,
dust.
don't listen to me anymore. It's okay.
Into the cookie.
Yep, they're gonna find another kind of mistake here. Not even able to find a kill as a result. As Gunner, Astral Step, that is enough. He actually pops the arena as well. And Milan, I mean, this is the second time. I think it was the bash again. Although they're gonna find him in the end here. Milan gets taken out. So 1 for 1, but definite favor of Quincy Crew.
This Void Spirit damage output with the double null only is ridiculous. I'm so surprised that with that full wand, Mars still died there.
Well, he didn't go BKB first. Maybe he should have.
Let it go.
It's too good. He will be going BKB now, though. So it's just so strange for me to see, because every time I see Gunner play this in his stream, he goes for like some crazy build with Deso or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, 'cause
he's going
he's
for
playing a
very
pole.
standard, and it doesn't fit his playstyle really, playing this Mars mid in terms of like competitive games that he's played, you know?
Well, if you look at the heroes he's playing us, he kind of has to. Otherwise, he's going to get burst by Void Spirit the way it just happened, right?
Right.
Actually ravaged as well.
Ooh, arrow. Milan. Nice kill onto Husky.
Here it comes.
Here comes the Inkswell. Okay. Yule's going to mitigate a little bit here. He gets the nice bash on Milan, but it looks like he's going to be fine. Focusing all their efforts onto Quinn. He gets to dissimulate off, but there's the back wall into the Ravage onto 3 heroes. Astral Step is there as well. 2 for nothing. Charge away. Moo. Might be successful. Actually, Quinn almost kills himself there. Very, cutting it very close. But it looks like the rest of 4 Zoomers will get out.
That was an interesting little interaction there with Soulbind. So unfortunately, he couldn't get the Soulbind off on Void Spirit while he was speared to the tree, probably just because Murano wasn't close enough for whomever. But he did get Soulbind bound in the middle of the dissimulate next to the other hero, but he just dissimmulated out of it.
So you can dissimulate while you're attached?
No, he was attached while he was dissimulated. Like the line was connected on the floor, but he wasn't actually attached. It just looked like he was.
All right, Moo gets a nice residual kill, but he's going to get traded out. So again, not worth it. That's a position 5 Tidehunter for... I mean, do we even call him position 1 anymore on this Spirit Breaker? I mean, he started in the safe lane, but he's definitely not farmed all too well. So we'll just call him the position 3 like he's supposed to be.
I mean, he is the position 3. He was just playing on the safe lane. I mean, your Terrorblade is still your 1 no matter what. And speaking of the Terrorblade, he has just been farming contently in his triangle for a while.
Gunner again getting bursted down, gets off the rebuke, but this takes very little effort for Quincy crew to take him out. And they're sitting on a 4K net worth lead again this time.
So this is really bad for the Zoomers because we were talking about how they need to be the ones setting the pace at this stage of the game just so that they don't get run over by this TA timing later.
There's the Yule's counter into the Aether Remnant as well, but they're not going to find the kill. But again, the initiation is kind of gone, although they will get Milan in the end. So nice turnaround there for 4 Zoomers. But still not the hero that they're really trying to focus down.
So Quincy crew aren't really the team that you would expect to be the aggressors at this stage of the game with their draft, but they've just been finding key kills all over the map. I mean, they did just feed their Mirana away right now, but they almost got the Spirit Breaker in return. So it really has to be the Zoomers doing these proactive plays, but they can't yet just because they don't have the BKB. And that just throws back to what Syndrome was saying on the panel. While yes, Spirit Breaker is an OP hero, it's not the best Spirit Breaker game until he gets his BKB. So it's just unfortunate how dependent they are on this item right now before they can actually get the ball rolling on their draft.
Yeah, and he's about 500-600 away from finishing it, so maybe things will start changing, but right now they're looking at a deficit. Gunner jumps in with that arena, but the arrow from the sideline, but the stun lock might be enough with the Inkswell combination, and down goes Kezu, so a big kill for 4 Zoomers. Going to try to turn this around, though. Some TPs have come in. Goes to Bile in the area. It looks like Quinn's going to be able to zip away just fine.
They do get this tower now. Can't believe it stayed alive this long. But yeah, the saving grace of this game for the 4 Zoomers is, honestly, Terrorblade has a wonderful matchup versus TA. Later on, he just needs to get to his 6 slots.
Oh, Gunner.
Oh, he got
Ponlo onto the low ground. All right, spears him far away, but the charge cancels the TP, so... All right, 4 Zoomers getting a nice couple kills here in the last minute or so. Cutting this lead down a bit.
And more importantly, they did open up that top side of the map finally for their Terrorblade.
Oh, this would be big if they can find it, but the arrow connects, and they're just going to blow up Gunner before he can get anything up. The Soulbind onto 2, and they will find Quinn, so that is a big, big kill for 4 Zoomers. As Mu looks to be getting away, and Yawar looks to potentially be next on the list. He's getting right-clicked down into Oblivion, as Costa Bile looks to be getting credit for that one. So, in the last minute, 4 Zoomers have really come back in this game.
Yeah, that is so good for them. That was really, really well played, honestly. And the reason why Terrorblade was kind of a non-factor in this game up until now was just because that top tower kind of confined him to just playing in his triangle for a very long time. That was just the safest and only place he could farm, whereas the TA had the entire bottom half of the map and her ancients to play. So now that they've finally gotten the ball rolling, this Terrorblade is going to have presence in this game. And all of a sudden, 4 Zoomers look really scary if they can keep finding these key kills, especially if the Tidehunter is just dying alone on the side lanes.
Yeah. And with that fight, we have the 9-second BKB on Mu. Costa Bile has the SNY, and he is getting relatively close to finishing BKB for himself, so that's probably the next go time, I would assume, for them.
And speaking of BKBs, Quinn is working towards his own. Or is that Assange? That is Assange. I thought I saw Mithril. I thought I saw Mithril Hammer. I was like, what is that doing there?
Maybe later. We'll see.
Maybe
how late
never.
This game goes.
I think Akai Assange is nice.
And we have a 3-man smoke down from Quincy crew, who, I mean, in terms of Roche potential now, obviously Quincy crew, I would assume, has the better lineup. There is some minus armor with 4 Zoomers still, but with that Deso now online for...
I wonder who they'll find here, because meta is actually up in 2 seconds. The smoke might not be in their best favor.
Yeah, it's going to be dissipating here relatively shortly as they traverse into the mid lane, but looks like they're not going to find anybody. Z Freaking Company in the trees. They have an idea that this is happening, so playing it a little bit safe. But that allows enough time for the Blink Dagger now to be picked up by Ponlo on the Tidehunter.
Both teams are just kind of slowed down right now. Our Zoomers were anticipating that smoke and just hiding in that top lane, waiting for them to walk into them. But Quincy crew didn't go too far.
Yeah, we have Ags. We've had Ags for a bit now on Kezus, so it has the double charges on Ion Shell with the extra HP to boot. Milan did get that second Yules, by the way.
While that entire thing happened, I do think Mirana needs Yules, really. Just gives her so much utility. I was surprised that Quinn went for his own Yules, but it really makes sense. You just don't want to be feeding early kills to a Phantom's Embrace as a Void Spirit, right?
Yeah, they have so much lockdown. I mean, even with the Yules, he's had trouble getting out still.
More smoke shenanigans. I don't know why I couldn't pronounce that. Smoke?
Smoke?
Smoke.
Nice smoke there from Quincy crew.
Smoking.
BKB on the way for Yawar as well. Actually, it's already in his inventory, so he takes apart that Dragon Lance.
But so did Costa Vila. He just finished his BKB as well.
Okay, good timing. So I think it's looking like what they want is just to pick off into Roche, essentially. And we'll see if that comes to be or not. Quinn. Oh, Ponlo. Ooh, he actually canceled animation that Ravage. That would have been a good Ravage, but
it was a bit
not
too
vision.
late. Yeah. You don't want to blow your Ravage as a 5-tide. Then you're just kind of a walking watermelon. When you are a gush too, and your T becomes stronger, I suppose. But now, four Zoomers are looking for a fight of their own. And interestingly enough, the Spirit Breaker decided to just go for Halberd instead of the typical Shadow Blade. So that Halberd is going to be a nuisance for TA.
Yeah,
I really like
sure.
this itemization. I do like that we're not seeing the cookie cutter Shadow Blade Ags. Shard.
Oh, we're seeing the cookie cutter charge into Inksoul, but a nice big Ravage from Ponlo on the other side. Is this enough to actually save Quinn? It's getting bursted down to a low degree, but they do find the Mars first, so Quincy crew off to a good start in this 5v4. Quinn still Ion Shelled up. Astral Steps to the low ground. Has to be careful. Astral Steps not to safety, but 3 kills in the blink of an eye go in the favor of Quincy crew. Charges there as well, but still Quinn will live. And now they're going to turn this around to Costa Vila. Gets a nice thunder, but he's completely surrounded and will be bursted down as a result. 4 for nothing, and into the Roche pit Quincy crew goes.
That was a perfect fight for Quincy crew. Yoar didn't even need to use his BKB. Just did everything there.
He did. Wow, he did not use his BKB.
They committed
What the hell?
everything on Quinn there, and then he just used, like, that Ravage by Ponlo saved him. He used himself, bought enough time, and while this is happening, we just have this TA shredding your backline. Your supports instantly died.
That is I mean, they were leading by a bit, like 2K. That is a 6K. Okay, now it's 5K. My math is not great, but that is a huge turnaround for Quincy crew. This kind of establishes them as the major favorite now in this game number 2.
Absolutely. If you're going with your Terrorblade and you're just making these plays early on and you're not winning the fight and giving away this first Aegis to the team.
Oh no, Arrow connects onto Gunner.
Another uphill cookie.
Yeah, that is a really nice cookie. I don't know if these are on purpose, but might not matter though. He gets right click from below and gets tipped to boot. Okay, it's not over yet. Okay, that's a nice kill onto Kezu. That's a high value one. I mean, he's pretty freaking farmed. Second in net worth. Mars mid. Your thoughts?
Mars mid. Well,
Is it like is the hero technically fine in these games or just misplaying, or is the hero just not fit what they're trying to do?
so in the last game, not a great hero, but in this game, he's a pretty good hero, honestly. He did well on lane, had a lot of good kills and rotations, and he's just a setup for a lot of the damage that's going to be coming out of Terrorblade and Snapfire, right? It's not his job to deliver the damage here.
That was a big kill, by the way.
These kills are, I can't believe we forgot to talk about this. Is signs of life, right? It was looking really scary for them, and now it's looking a little bit better. But still, I would say Quincy crew are in a favorable position. All they need to do is respawn their heroes and walk down the lane.
Right, and I think Quincy crew, they're a lot different than their previous roster, from my perspective at least, and this is kind of what I was talking about. This is why I picked them to be, again, I would not be surprised with who is 1, 2, and 3 between the other 3 teams not named 4 Zoomers. Like, it wouldn't shock me that Quincy gets first, but I picked them third because it feels like they're less disciplined when they have leads. And that's like the opposite of what I felt in their last roster. But we'll see if they round it out here. But a couple of very sloppy deaths after gaining huge momentum with that like very big turnaround fight into the Roche.
Yeah, I can see that coming into play as a factor of like what could take them out of their #1 seed this game, especially depending on how disciplined EG are looking now. Or
Yeah, EG are the biggest wild cards. You have no idea what to do with
knows.
Nightfall here. All right, Kostabile getting chased. There's the Ravage into the normal punch. It's an anime. He popped BKB, I think.
XD.
He did. XD indeed. Wow.
Ooh, that is so unfortunate.
And another death, but that is on Z-Freak, so Quincy crew looking good now.
Yeah, they're on that TA timing now. It is hard. He's got a double damage too. They're gonna shred this tower.
That thing is donezo, and they're not done yet. 11K net worth lead, still Aegis for another 2 minutes, and no buyback on this TV as we can see.
So actually the bane of the Zoomers this game was their need for a BKB timing on Spirit Breaker to play the kind of Dota they needed to do to slow down this TA. And all it took was that one fight going catastrophically for them to negate all of the tempo control they had in the early game.
We get this tier 3 tower or not. Can play it a little bit safe. So this is the discipline we're talking about. But again, they still have Aegis, so could play a little bit risky if they want.
And they're fine with that chip damage and just walking away. There's actually charge-in happening. He cancels.
Not enough confidence to continue with that one, as the BKB is now online for Gunner. So we've seen the same build 2 games in a row, flip-flopped in terms of the order, but basically the same effect it feels like. And the thing that surprises me most, like, I know they're losing, but his farm in both games has been very bad, which is not something you see with Gunner very often.
Yeah, I think that's just how the game goes, though, right? Because he is building to be the initiator of his team, and he's depending on his snap and his TV for the damage later on. Right? He played a great early game, played a great laning stage, but Mars isn't necessarily the hero that you have flash farming your side lanes in the mid game, whereas the TA and the Void Spirit just have a lot more inherent like farm speed and mobility.
Which is odd because it feels like it's the opposite of what his playstyle normally is as well. Like
They had an idea, right? They went into the series with an idea that they wanted to play with, and that's what Quinn was saying in the interview. It's like they have their heroes, they have their strategy, and they stuck to it. They probably talked about it a lot, they probably scrimmed it. I mean, this game really would look entirely different if that one smoke did not go the way that it did.
That is true. Oh, Spear is not going to connect. Charge does. But now the chase is on as Quinn and company. They're going to try find move, but that's going to be the BKB charge. And now the Yules.
Oh, arrow though.
Gunner. All right, has to pop a BKB of his own. So a lot of wasted utility here for 4 Zoomers. And this means that Quincy crew can just kind of ball up and take down some more towers if they want.
I mean, there still
13K net
is
worth
the
lead for them.
potential of this arena, but I'm not sure if Zoomers can take this here. I feel like they just have to give it away.
Yeah, I think having 2 BKB charges, my goodness.
So they've actually decided to chase them around the map.
Okay, that's buying some space, I suppose. As Moo gets a nice charge, but Soulbind's going to be used just before the death of Z-Freak. And, I mean, they pushed the lane a bit, but I mean, this does buy enough space for the BKBs to come back online, I suppose.
I guess so, but it's not really like Terrorblade is that comfortable at the moment anyway. If the Grimstroke is at top, they don't have the outpost in the bottom jungle, so Terrorblade can't even farm there. And because they TP top to kill the Grimstroke, Terrorblade can't walk into triangle at that point either. So that's 30 seconds of farm time he's losing.
Oh, charge into the bash, into the nether strike as well. Milan, bashed again. My God. Moo, it feels like he's getting all the bashes in the world this game, but it's all for naught, it feels like.
Alright, so I like that Moo changed up his halberd that he had queued up and just went for Ags, because the way that the game is going, he just needs to be able to clear these waves and try to create better opportunities, because they are playing from behind. This halberd is not going to save the day versus the TA at this point in the game. You just want to get as much mobility as you can, and of course the charge going through magic immunity is going to be really helpful.
And it's also more fun, which is the most important factor, right? Getting Ags on Spirit Breaker. It's great.
You can also just go from lane to lane to lane to lane.
That's right.
Forever.
Very mobile hero indeed. We're going to have the 5-man smoke from 4 Zoomers. And if this ends in disaster, it might just be GG. But second Roche, not for a bit. We won't know for another 45 seconds on how fast that spawn's going to be. But the BKB now online for Kezu, it looks
Dude,
like.
the smoke can't do anything because that mid tower is still up for Quincy crew. Like, they're just
Oh my
comfortably
God,
standing
what the
next
heck?
to their mid tower.
It's
they have no
almost
paths.
full HP. What the hell?
They have no smoke paths to take.
That's crazy. Oh, Quinn gets the Yules into the Aether Remnant, pops the BKB from Gunner into the Mars Arena as well. The charge from Moo. They're trying to lock down. Who is that? Looks like the Tide Hunter. They will find him in the end. Did get off the Ravage beforehand, though. Nice Astral Step onto 2. Dissimulates to the other side. There's the wall doesn't connect on anybody, so Quincy crew going to try to reset here.
Panla did get that nice backline Ravage versus the Grim and the Terrorblade, but the rest of his team was isolated from him by the arena and just couldn't follow up.
Well, that buys some more time for 4 Zoomers, I suppose.
Take back your triangle, farm up as much as you can. Potentially try to do something with this Tide Dead and Ravage down. And if they can just get this mid tower even, that they're happy with that.
Yeah, and with that Ravage down, they want to potentially go for Roche. It's not quite up yet, though, but it is relatively soon, 30 seconds, which obviously they'll know that Ravage will not be online, as well as the Vac Wall.
They do have that double damage bottled on Terrorblade, and
Okay.
Scotty finished up too. SY, BKB. Just get this mid tower, man. It's been here for way too long. It's restricted so much of their
Fortify.
movements.
There we go. Delay this. But yeah, even with all this, there's not going to be wall, there's not going to be Ravage, and Roshan is about to spawn. So this could be their go time. I mean, Mars Arena is back online this second. So I feel like this is the best opportunity for 4 Zoomers to get back into the game. And they're going to spot out that Roche is up. This has the shard.
If Roshan spawned 30 seconds earlier for them, that would have been
Yeah, for sure.
so good. But now it's so easy to contest by Quincy crew. Even though they don't have Ravage up, wall is coming back up.
Yeah, that's a scary one. Very unfortunate for 4 Zoomers. And now they're going to have to potentially play into a Ravage as well, because it's only 40 seconds away. Now we have another 5-man smoke on 4 Zoomers. Let's see if they can find something this time. It feels like Quincy has been reading them like a book, but here comes the Inkswell charge combination onto Quinn with the arena into the spear with the kisses from afar. Quinn's going to get the Yules off in time and should be able to dissimulate Astral Step away to safety, and he does just that. Soulbind from Z-Freak. Looks like they'll be able to take out Ponlo to start this fight off. He's going to buy back into the game. We'll have Ravage shortly after. As Yawar and company focusing on Kostabili, gets the Sunder off the last moment. Looks like it was on Kezu. Now he's trying to limp away. Z-Freak's going to take a tumble. And Kostabile still relatively low. There's a huge Ravage from Ponlo, and that is going to decimate the lineup of 4 Zoomers. And Roshan is probably going to come next for Quincy crew.
They didn't even lose the TA. TA's blink came off just in time. She was so close to dying there.
Did he use BKB this time? All right, he did. Just double checking.
That was a really well played fight by Quincy crew. We would assume with the Spirit Breaker starting it, just charging up with that BKB, it would look bad for them.
Yeah.
But they just have so many great ways to counter initiate here.
All right, Aegis and Shard. Yawar's Shard is pretty good.
Also, that Ravage came off just in the nick of time.
Yeah. Well, he died, bought back, and it came off cooldown as he was TPing, so it was pretty perfect time. And they had to expend a decent amount to take him out to begin with as well. So Shard giving them the silence on the traps now. Of course, not as cool when you don't have Ags to accompany it, just saying, but, you know.
True, but it's still really good, right? You can just silence the Snapfire without even having to commit to going on her like Ponlo has been doing.
Now, Quinn.
It's going to be helpful.
Looking for a pick off, not going to find it though. Another strike. Not going to proc as Milan gets a couple leaps off. There's another strike finally onto Milan, into the charge, into the cookie. Stun locks for days, but look at the Vac Wall, into the normal punch. Quincy crew destroying 4 Zoomers here. A little bit of a delay here. Okay, the Mortimer's Kiss is doing quite a bit of damage. Ponlo's going to burn down to the ground. 100 seconds on the deck as Quinn trying to clean up Moo. Playing that cow, very, very fitting for him.
Even Darkseer has a BKB. Right? He's not dying to that Arena Mortimer's combo. But Kezu has been playing so well these last 2 fights. He's gotten these beautiful back walls off.
21k net worth lead for Quincy Crew. And now they can just group up with that Aegis. They have the Swift Link on Yawar. He's looking quite fat. PHAT, indeed.
And Metamorphosis is back up now, so this doesn't spell the end of this game.
Oh my, Gunner, okay. Finds a little pesky Mirana in the trees of his own base. Quinn trying to create a little bit of space for him to get out, and he does just that, and they're going to kill the Snapfire instead. Oh boy.
These are really good goes by Gunner. Like, that was a good initiation. It's just that there's so much mobility in this Void Sphere to just blink in, Astral Step, Remnant, whatever, follow-up arrow. There's just so much mobility at this stage of the game, and with your Spirit Breaker dead, you don't really have any kind of solid lockdown to follow up on the Spear.
Right. I mean, it is definitely one of Quinn's best heroes. Basically all the spirits for the most part. I mean, the thing is, I look at Gunner as a big spirit player as well, so it's just strange to see 2 games in a row on Mars. Do this spear onto Yawar, but he's not going to get stunned up. Gunner still has that arena to work with, and Yawar still has the Aegis, so he's not really scared of anything. Kostabile forced to pop his BKB and the meta as well, and Yawar just standing his ground, just focusing down Gunner. So it's essentially a 2-for-0 with still the Aegis intact.
And you have Ponlo TPing in with a Ravage off cooldown. Fighting the extra backup.
And that is going to be yet another... sorry, that's the first setter. It feels like they've had the mid-racks already, but I guess not.
Because they did hit mid-rack.
Ravage. Kostabile gets bursted down. Does have buyback, though. But, of course, with no meta, how much use are you? Vacuum back. And Moo looks to be next on the list. Buyback onto Gunner, though. That's going to be a double kill for Keza. This looks to be the end of Game 2 in all likelihood, so 4 Zoomers will move on. Of course, it is double elim, so... Sorry, did I say 4 Zoomers? Quincy Crew will move on, and 4 Zoomers will get another chance, of course.
And the Fountain
Okay,
Dive?
that's the Aegis down.
Is it happening?
You can see Yawar. Very important to see his camera during this very tense moment as Yawar blinks out to safety, so he's very happy about that as well.
They didn't even finish off the mid-racks, but they should be able to come
Yeah, oh, here comes the second Ravage. Ponlo with that refresher. And Kostabile is done for good. 100 seconds on the deck.
Dude, Ponlo sold his boots for a refresher. He just walking
What a
around
baller.
with a windlace and a ceremonial robe to just barely have enough mana to cast 2 Ravages. That is very cool.
I like how every time we mention somebody other than Yawar, they still show Yawar's face. I actually love that. Yawar is a beast, man. GG is called as
like
game number 2 goes the way of Quincy Crew.
I like this bootless refresher Titan there. Big fan.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
That is only possible because of ceremonial robe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for
I
it.
didn't have enough mana otherwise.
Yeah. Quinn always living in the dark. Oh, wait, his camera. Okay, he's happy that